make your way to child's pose. Welcome, everyone. Officially, I am Laurie. This is Wednesday Slow Flow, and it's sunny and beautiful. And I'm glad to be here. So rest your forehead into something if it doesn't comfortably meet the floor. Place something underneath it. Stretch your arms out. Sink your hips back. And then just get acquainted with your breath. Like notice your breath. And then be a little more intentional with your breath. Breathing in and out through your nose, a measured breath. A little deeper than you normally breathe. Just kind of awakening you from the inside out. And with your eyes closed here, just be aware of your surroundings, like all four walls. Make sure things have moved so that you're going to be able to stretch out. And again, awareness inside to breath. Start to create that ujjayi breath, that little bit of sound with a slight restriction, actually opening in the back of your throat. That kind of forms a bit of a restriction. And with your next inhale, bring yourself up to tabletop position. Hands and knees, wrists right underneath your shoulders. We're going to start with some side stretches. So bring your right hip out towards the right and your right shoulder reaching towards that right hip. So you're kind of forming the letter C with your spine. And just hold that for a couple of deep breaths, noticing the space through your right rib cage. And then switch sides. Left shoulder and hip draw towards each other, creating a little tightness, a little condensing of your rib cage, and then that opens up your right rib cage. Nice deep breath. And now move back and forth, side to side with breath. Right to left. And then come on back to center and press into your hands, dome your upper back, let your head fall, lift your low belly for cat pose, and just stay here for a couple deep breaths. Push your tailbone down towards the floor. Notice that stretch between your shoulder blades as you push into the floor. And then relax your heart. Look forward, draw your shoulder blades together and tip your sit bones up high into cow pose. And just a little bend in your elbows. Hug your hands towards each other. Hug your shoulder blades towards each other. And then push into cat again. And take another round. Cow pose. Inhale. Cat pose. Exhale all the way. Curl your toes under and stretch out in downward facing dog. Put a nice bend in your right knee. Stretch out your left leg and push your left heel towards the floor. And then kind of rotate slightly, rotating your left inner thigh forward and then your left outer thigh forward. You get a little shift and stretch through your ankle here. And then switch out your legs heavy through your right heel, bend your left knee. And then the action is in your right leg here. Inner thigh forward, outer thigh forward. Notice your ankle move a bit right to left as you do that. And then pedal both heels. Push the floor away, pull high through your hips. Shake your head around, relax through your neck. One more nice big breath in and out through your nose. And then just take little baby steps all the way to the top of your mat. And forward fold. Shake your head. Soften your knees. Feet are about hip width apart. Grab opposite elbow. And just frame your head with your upper arms. Press your elbows down. Tip your sit bones up. Sway right to left with your torso, shifting your weight right to left. Now release your bind and plant your left hand center mat and bring your right hand to your right hip. Bend your left knee and now stack your right shoulder over your left shoulder. You can keep your hand here or reach your right arm straight up towards the ceiling. As you inhale, pull your heart forward, and as you exhale, rotate your top shoulder back. And deep breath here. And take one more breath, really reach up for it. And then bring your right foot to the floor, bend your right knee, or right hand to the floor and bend your right knee. Left hand to left hip. Pull your chest forward, rotate your left shoulder back, right shoulder towards the left edge. And then you can option to extend your arm up, or you can keep your hand at your hip. As you breathe in, draw length through your spine. As you breathe out, rotate. 2 more breaths here. Final breath, really reach up for it. Forward fold, just let your arms hang heavy, head hang heavy. And then I want you to slowly come up to standing, keeping your arms relaxed. Come all the way upright. We're gonna build power stance here a minute. So lift your toes up, lift your arches up, press into your heels and big toe mounds, and then hug your inner thighs towards each other. Little tip of your pelvis, hip points up. Shoulders rotate back and down. And now turn your thumbs back so your palms are open. Reach for the sky. Take a deep breath in. Look up, bring your palms together overhead. Forward fold all the way down. And just hang heavy again and slowly come up to standing. Relax your arms, your neck. Your head comes up last. Shoulders back, palms open. Reach up, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Let's do that one more time. Heavy upper body, slowly rise. Once you're standing, rotate your shoulders back, palms open, and then reach your arms up overhead. One big breath here. Forward fold, exhale. Take your right leg to the sky, lift it nice and high. A lift from your inseam. Keep your toes pointed towards the floor. And take one more deep breath in. And then step that right foot way back for a low lunge. Bring your knee to the ground, top of your back foot to the floor, and then come upright. Left knee right over your left ankle. Arms along your side, palms open, reach your arms up. With your left hand, grab your right wrist and lean over to the left. You can just let your head be heavy here to stretch the right side of your neck. All through the right side of your rib cage, shoulder, from your hip, all the way up to that right ring finger. Come back up through center, reach up, and then frame your left foot. Pull your hips back and stretch out your left leg. Sink your chest toward your left knee. Pull back through your left hip crease. And then walk your hands forward and come into that deep lunge again. Just keep your hands on the floor here. We'll do that again. Walk your hands back, stretch out your left leg, sink your chest toward your knee. Walk your hands forward, lunge your hips forward. Squeeze your right butt cheek here. Do that again. Hips back, flex your left foot, sink your chest. And then walk your hands forward, step to the top of your mat and bow. Bring your left leg to the sky. Push out through your heel. Deep breath. Now lift your inseam. One more breath here. Step your left foot back, lower your knee, lower the top of your back foot down, hands up to your front knee. Arms along your side, palms open, reach up to the sky. Grab your left wrist and lean to the right. Notice your breath again, expanding your left side. Come back through center. Bring your hands to the floor, frame your front foot, and then pull your hips back, stretch out your right leg, curl your toes toward your shin, sink your heart over your right knee. Walk your hands forward, lunge forward, squeeze your left butt cheek, push into the top of your back foot. And we'll do that transition just a couple more times. Pull back, sink your chest, right leg extends, getting a nice hamstring stretch. Walk your hands forward, deep lunge. Come back one more time. Maybe your chest gets a little closer to your knee. Downward facing dog. Deep cleansing breath. Walk to the top of your mat, forward fold. And slowly rise up, open up your palms or reach your arms overhead. Forward fold, exhale. Take a halfway lift, draw your heart forward, tailbone back. And step back to high plank position. Find power stance here in this shape. So lift your navel up, push your tailbone towards your heels, squeeze right above your kneecap so your legs are really active, and then hug your inner thighs towards each other. Now shift forward onto your tiptoes, and then bring your knees down, your hips down, your chest down to the floor. Slide your hands back so your wrists are under your elbows. We'll take cobra. Push into the tops of your feet, tailbone back, lift your heart. Press down into your palms. Pull the heels of your hands back towards the back of your mat so your upper back is nice and strong. Deep breath. Take one more inhale here, and then make your way to downward facing dog. Cleansing breath. Walk to the top of your mat and forward fold. Rise up all the way. Sink to chair pose. Bend your knees and sink your hips back. Gonna reach nice and tall through your arms. Imagine there's a block in between your thighs. Hug inward. Another deep breath. Sink your hips back and down. Final inhale. Forward fold. Halfway lift. And step back to high plank. Shift your weight forward. Lower all the way to the floor. This time we're going to set up for locust. Arms back, fingertips to your mat, tailbone toward your heels. Hug to midline to integrate and come up for locust. Your heart reaches forward, base of your skull forward so the back of your neck is nice and long. Actively squeeze your legs, your glutes. 2 breaths. Take one more inhale, and then plant your hands, cobra or up dog, downward facing dog. Take your right leg up high. Step it forward for warrior 1. Spin your back heel to the floor, reach your arms overhead. Open up to warrior 2. Reverse your warrior, reach up and back, slide your left hand back and down your leg. Come back to warrior 2 and hold here. The integration is a little harder to feel when your legs are wide, but you still want that same thing. Drive your front heel down, hug it back. As you drive your back pinky blade down, hug it towards your front foot. So you have a nice strong base. From there, lift your heart to lengthen your spine. Just a nice steady gaze over your front fingertips. A full breath cycle. Flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. Bring your hands to the floor inside your front foot and pivot your back heel up high. Push into the floor, lift your hips way up high, lift your navel toward your spine. Now lift your front heel high and squeeze your right knee into the outside of your shoulder. And you may be able to pick up that front foot and then step back, downward facing dog. Take your left leg high. Step forward, warrior 1. Reach up. Warrior 2. Reverse warrior. Back to warrior 2. And then get curious about the shape your body's in right now. Starting with the ground, notice your feet. Anchor down, hug to midline. Notice how that activates your inseams. Get your legs nice and strong. And now spine tall. I like to bring a little bit of bend to my elbows. This gives me better access to broader collarbone, strong upper back. And then gaze over your fingertips. Take another full breath in and out. Keep hugging your legs in towards each other. Front palm up, reverse your warrior. Reach up and back, nice side body stretch. Hands to the floor, inside your front foot. Pivot your back heel up. Lift your hips up. Push into the floor. Feel that doming of your upper back. Hug your knee in tight. Step back. Downward dog. Walk to the top of your mat. Forward fold. Slowly come up to standing. Palms open. Reach up. Chair pose. This time I want you to interlace your hands behind you. If that isn't comfortable, you can grab a towel, stretch out your arms and lift them away from your low back. Lift your hip points up towards your low ribs, get that core nice and stable. And now lift your right foot off the floor. Keep this bind and take your leg back for a bound airplane. So here you want to keep your hips level. That right hip may want to turn up, but make sure you're pointing your toes, especially your pinky toe on your right foot, towards your mat. Keep a softness in your standing knee and really drive that energy out through your lifted heel. And from here, now we're going to transition, stacking right side over left for bound half moon. And if you're like losing your balance, that's all right. You can use a block. You can take any half moon variation that feels right for you, even a bind, grabbing your lifted foot and stretching out through your quads. Really good. One more big breath here, and then release and bow forward. Again, slowly rise up to standing. Palms open, reach up to the sky. And sink to chair pose. Interlace your hands at your low back. Extend your arms out, lift them away from you. And now bring your left knee up, left foot off the floor. And keep your foot flexed. Extend out into bound airplane. Crown of your head forward, heel back and nice and long. That bend in your standing knee helps work your standing leg muscles in your glutes. And now transition by stacking your left side over your right. Keep your gaze at one spot on the floor. Open up. If you feel steady, you can work your gaze off to the left. Just the thought of it made me lose my balance. And then any variation of half moon. Deep breath. Take in one more breath. Release and forward fold. And take your right leg to the sky. Step it back wide for crescent lunge. So about hip width distance between your feet, right to left. Come upright. Place a slight bend in your back knee. Back heel comes up. This gives you access to get that lift of your hip points to tilt your pelvis. And then actively hug your legs towards each other. From here, keep your right hand up. Bring your left hand to your left hip. And take a deep breath in, stretch up through that right fingertip. And then cross over your left thigh with your hands. So your palms open. From here, rotate your chest open to the left. You can keep your hand on your hip, drawing your left hip crease back, or you can extend your left arm out long. Push the back of your hand into your thigh just above your knee. And keep that length of your spine as you rotate shoulder over shoulder, opening. Another deep breath in and out. And then come back through center, crescent lunge. Open up to warrior two. Clasp your hands behind you. Lift the center of your chest, knuckles down, humble warrior. Push into both feet. Tailbone towards your back heel. Deep breath. And take one more breath here. Plant your hands, step to the top of your mat, forward fold, relax. Lift your left leg high. Step wide for crescent lunge. Come upright. Get stable through your base. Adjust your hip points. Root down into your front foot. Right hand to your right hip, left hand to the sky. Reach up nice and tall, and then kind of karate chop over for your twist. And so you have that back of your hand above your knee. Use that as leverage to root, lifting your spine and rotate your top shoulder back. Again, option to lift your right arm to the sky for the twist. Good, breathe deeply. One more round of breath here. And then come back up through center, reach both arms up, open up to warrior two, spin your back heel to the floor. Interlace your hands behind you, lift your heart, humble warrior. Squeeze your back thigh, push into your front foot. Take one last breath here. Plant your hands, step forward, forward fold. Walk your feet out wide and take a deep squat. Toes off your mat. Sink your hips. You can sit on a block if that's helpful. Hands to heart center, lift the center of your chest. And take one more deep breath. And then step back to downward facing dog. Lift your right leg. Step forward for lizard, back knee to the ground, top of your back foot down. And now here you can take a block in front of you. If that's helpful, bring your forearms to the block. You may bring your forearms to the floor. To check in with your right knee and right ankle, you want them stacked instead of maybe your knee lunging too far forward over your ankle or too far back through your heel. Once you've settled in, if you're comfortable, it's a good place to close your eyes. Bring awareness to your breath, smooth it out. To dial into that inner groin stretch on your left side. You can push into the top of your back foot or squeeze your left butt cheek a bit more. And come on up to tall arms. And now you have an option to move into the half splits that we did earlier in class. Pull back through your right hip crease, curl your right toes towards you and bow over your right leg. Or you can play with full splits, backing your left knee up, If you're working on it, sometimes it's nice to place a block underneath your right thigh. Either way, you want to square your hips up. Pull back through your right hip crease, forward through your right hip point. And take one more deep breath here. And then make your way back into downward facing dog. Pedal your heels to just move your hips a bit, release that stretch. And then left side lizard. Step your left leg forward, lower your back knee and top of your back foot. Align your ankle and your left knee. Settle into forearms. Press down into your left big toe mound and hug your knee in towards your body. Come back up to tall arms. And then move into your hamstring stretch variation of half splits or full splits. Take one more deep breath and then make your way back into downward facing dog. Take your right leg high and bring it forward and wide for dragon. And then as you lower your back knee, shift it way over to the left edge of your mat, right foot to the right edge of your mat. And then turn onto the pinky blade of your right foot. Allow your right knee to open up away from you. And then forearms again to the floor or to a block. And now come a little more upright and bend your back knee. Tug your knee forward so you're stretching out your quads, and then reach your right hand back. You can keep your right hand on your hip and just rotate your shoulder back as you lift your heel up towards the ceiling, or reach all the way back for the bind. Pull your heel in towards your left butt cheek. And then if you've pulled back through your hips to grab your foot, make sure you lean forward again. A nice stretch through the front of your left thigh, yes? And deepen your breath again if it's become shallow. And take one more inhale here. And then release your bind and step back to downward facing dog. Move your hips around. As you're ready, take your left leg forward into wide dragon, left side. Again, make sure the stance is wide, right to left. Let your left knee open. You should be able to see the sole of your left foot now. And you can self-assist by grabbing your inner thigh and rotating it away, kind of counterclockwise. And now begin to bend your back knee, left hand to left hip. Rotate your chest open to the left, possibly taking the bind. Get a little bit of drag through your back knee as you lunge your right hip point forward. And then pull your heart forward to get some more length through your spine. Rotate your left shoulder back. Final breath here. Release to downward facing dog. Lift your right leg high and back. And then take it forward for half pigeon. Wiggle your back knee as far back as it'll go. And then notice if you're kind of flopping over to the right more and grounding your right butt cheek and that left hip is high, you may want to place a block, a low block, underneath your right butt cheek. Keep your right foot flexed so your toes are curling toward your shin. Back leg nice and long. Anchor down into your big toenail. From there, pull your chest forward and lower down all the way to your forehead and walk your elbows out wide. I'm feeling a really nice stretch through my right glutes. A little bit of right hamstring. Notice the stretch. Can you bring your awareness there and then breathe deeply as if your expansive breath is creating a little more space for that muscle that seems to be getting a nice stretch, a little more space for it to expand gently and softly. Even if you're feeling a lot of sensation there or wherever you're feeling it, just notice if you can try to relax into it as you exhale. So softening as you exhale. And take your deepest breath here, unrushed. And then gently make your way back to downward facing dog. As you're ready, take a left side half pigeon. Pull back through your left hip crease and forward and down through your right hip point. And then internal awareness, breath awareness. As you pay attention internally, you might find some places where there's resistance, where you're holding back or pushing your mat away and resisting it. And just see if you can little by little soften into your exhales, relax into the stretch. And take your deepest breath here. Take your time. And then gently downward facing dog. Walk through your hands. Come onto your back. Take your block for legs up the wall. Slide it underneath your tailbone area. And extend your feet straight up. Kind of wiggle your shoulder blades close together so your chest feels open. Relax your arms with your palms open. And then if you're comfortable here, just close your eyes or just kind of look above your big toes. Again, notice breath, notice the movement through your low belly and ribs as you breathe. And bring your feet to the floor, lift your hips and slide the block away. Stretch your left leg out long on your mat and hug your right knee into your chest. Give a little side to side rock. And then rotate your knee all the way over to the left, holding on to it with your left hand. Stretch your right arm out and look over your shoulder. And breathe big enough so you're feeling your right ribs move. Then come on back through center. Switch out your legs. Right heel forward, left knee in. Rock your knee. And then take the twist over your body. Adjust your shoulders so your left shoulder's on the floor. And look over it. Release and make your way up into a comfortable seated position. I like to sit on my block with my shins on the floor. You can do that, or you can sit cross-legged. If you'd like to lean your back up against a wall, you can do that as well. And sit nice and tall, and just rest your hands in your lap as they're most comfortable. It can be palms down or palms open. And then gently close your eyes or just gaze at the floor in front of you a few feet. I like eyes closed just because it helps to bring more internal awareness. Your breath is a really nice anchor to keep you present because the mind has its own agenda of lots of thoughts that pop up. That's going to happen. But when you notice that happen, just repeat, that's not now, this is now, and then focus on your next breath, this breath. If you still notice some controlled breathing going on, see if you can let that go. Just allowing your lungs to expand and contract on their own. And at this time, you can stay in your seated meditation. You're also welcome to stretch out on your mat for traditional Shavasana. If you're sitting upright and you notice you're starting to slouch a bit or feel tense in your shoulders or neck, just take a deep breath and lift your heart a little taller, lift the base of your skull, and then be sure to relax again into your exhale. Soften the muscles around your nice tall frame. Make your next inhale a nice full body awakening breath. And if you're lying down, make your way up into a seated position. And bring your palms together. Rest your thumb knuckles against your forehead. To the light in each other, we say, Namaste.